What's up? We are back on the CEO Pulse podcast where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. We are sitting down with Alan Whitworth. Alan, you are the owner of Arizona Next Level. It's a real estate investment company here in the Phoenix Valley. And what's so cool about your story is I've gotten to see glimpses, right, in and out over the last 2.5 years. But you jumped into this space in 2019, and from then to now, I mean, it's day and night. It's a huge, huge difference. You've seen exponential growth. You're already changing people's lives in terms of like people reaching out to you for advice and that sort of thing. So it's moving very, very fast, and you're creating some great stuff in a very, very short period of time. So I want to break into that and also pick your brain on what it takes to jump from a corporate standpoint on into like betting on yourself and really diving head on into the space of entrepreneurship. So thanks for being on the show, bro. I appreciate you.
Honestly, with that last little statement you made, I got chills. The thing is, I was field operations manager for a commercial and industrial electrical contractor. I held that position for about 10 years. It was two different companies, one for 8 years and one for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And on average, I'd have 25 foremen working for me and 150 employees below that. In that position, though, what you got to realize, though, is you have a target on your back. You're one person. You have to identify with every single person that works for you. Otherwise, they hate your guts and they don't want to perform. I learned really early on that if you just really focused on you focused on the person, like focus in on the foreman or focus in on the lower level employees, mm-hmm. They want to perform for you. They want to make stuff happen. You know what I mean? If I tell them you do this or else, you know what I mean? It's kind of a change dynamic where they don't really want to perform for you. It took me a long time to realize that. But when you're talking about moving from, January 2019 is when I just even started learning how to spell real estate, and I think I closed my first deal. Damn, I was spending about $3,000 a month on marketing, and I closed my first, and my wife was really upset that I kept transferring $3,000 out of our bank accounts into a business account to do all this marketing every single month, seeing no return. And at the same time, you doubt yourself the entire time. Like, can I really freaking do this? Can I really pull this off? I didn't get my first check until June of 2019, and I worked January all the way up to that point to finally get my first deal closed. Luckily, that deal was, I think it was something like $56,000, which was a good one. Yeah, I mean, and that's not common. What's common is maybe $10,000, $5,000 to $10,000, maybe $15,000. But then but because of all that work I'd put in ahead of that, I had more deals closing right after that one. So I cleared about $100,000 my first year, and I was able to walk away from about $150,000 a year career in July 31st of 2019 was when I resigned from a 25-year career and just went all in on real estate. And
wow, that's great. 25 years in this this space where you're getting a biweekly check.
Every week, dude. It's $1,800 every Friday. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's comfortable.
Yeah. Comfortable. That's a scary word.
It is a very scary word. Yeah, I mean, I believe you. I mean, if you're comfortable in everything that you're doing, you're kind of setting yourself up for. You're not growing, right? The term is like
complacency. I think. Yeah. You get complacent with.
If you're not growing, you're dying. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if you're just comfortable, you're literally not growing. You're not progressing. Yeah. Your mindset shifts. You're. I mean, I had a great career. Mm-hmm. Nice house, nice everything, but at the same time, I wasn't really fulfilled. Mm. And I can even bring this all the way back around. Like I'll bring this all the way back around to where I'm currently at right now. Right. So I wound up having enough money, and I started talking to my partner, John Berger. Dude's fantastic. Mm. Probably one of the best business decisions I've ever made. And I've been in business with other people before, and where I was the one that did all the work, came up with all the freaking things to do, you know what I mean, and try to push everybody in a certain direction, and like everybody's waiting for it. That's not a good partnership. With John and I, he's just such an A personality, high driver, workaholic. It matched my energy. You know what I mean? So at the same time, you would think that the two might collide, mm-hmm. but it's just been such a beautiful partnership, honest friendship partnership where If I'm falling short, hey bro, I need you to do this, or if he's falling short, hey bro, I need you to do this. And everybody has their flaws, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially when you get into partnerships and you start talking about money being involved, there can be tense time frames, but really just a fantastic partnership that I've had with John.
That's interesting that you bring that up. I mean, because you have moved very, very fast over a span of like,
Less
two,
than 3 years.
yeah,
Less than 3 years
2.5
right now,
years
yeah.
or so, less than 3 years. And so John, your partner here, he has experience in real estate.
Yeah, he's been doing it since '93.
Okay, 93. I mean, that's a very smart thing to do, right? When you come in and then you start to leverage somebody else's talent and bring value to them. You level up yourself at the same time. Now, with that being said, like picking the right partner to go into business with, it's easier said than done.
And so what we did though, like
Yeah.
this was, in my opinion, was probably one of our better genius moves. Is we did a 6-month, just like a honeymoon type of contract.
You dated for 6 months.
Yeah, so we had a 6-month time frame. Our contract was for 6 months. Our partnership was for 6 months, and then at the end of the 6 months, we wound up creating a massive operating agreement that ties us together. We're married.
Yeah,
it's just
pretty
flat
much.
out. Yeah, but. And then you start talking about leveraging a team and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have Trudy that works for us. I think she's a little older, but she's an awesome lady. When she came in with her resume, and like she was like a manager of like 9, I don't even know what it was. It was like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, 9 different title companies. You know what I mean? I'm like, holy crap.
She's got to know her stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing about it is
You're hiring talent.
Yeah, and everything we do is national too. So it's like here in Phoenix, I mean, you could just work with Magnus or you could work with Fidelity, and you got that name, you got that rapport, you got all that stuff super, super slick, super easy. But when you start going nationally, it takes a certain type of person to find those title companies, get the relationship with the title companies, and be so on point with everything that you're doing that everything moves through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you're starting to do national stuff right now too,
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, so I think you're probably experiencing a lot of that.
Yeah, you come across some walls and interestingly enough, right? Like we're thinking that because these are professionals in their field, they know what we do. In the sense of wholesaling, and like I can't tell you how many times I've had to explain this to like escrow officers or closing attorneys. They're like, yeah, it's double closing. It's I don't know. Anyways, it's a different strategy, right? But at the end of the day, it's leveraging the talent of somebody else. I think as business owners, it's easy to fall into that trap where you want to make sure that everything's being quote unquote done right. And you take away from that. You take away from the people who are actually more talented than you inside your company. You take away from their ability to perform by kind of hovering and then letting that choking them in that sense.
The biggest waste in any organization is unappreciated talent or
Oh,
unrecognized talent.
100%.
So right now we have another guy. His name's Jason Papa Georgopoulos. Wrap your head around that last name.
Papa
Georgopoulos. Yeah.
Papa Georgopoulos.
Yeah, he's Greek. But he's been with us since he was 19 years old. He's 21 years old now, and he's our operating manager. Yeah, I mean, so like literally what you just kind of hinging on what you just said, if I'm hovering over him on every single detail, he's not going to perform.
Yeah.
But if I go, dude, you got this. I mean, it took me and John a long time to get to the point where we're like, dude, we're just going to hand you this position.
Yeah.
It's like, we need to see what you can do. We need to see it. We need to see it. We need to see it. And this is a guy that's worked with us in months where shoot, he's had to get like a payday loan to pay his own freaking rent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And stuck with it through those times. And I don't even know. I'm going to guess. I think he makes anywhere from like $5 to $10 a month pretty consistently. 21 years old. Like, not a lot of 21-year-olds make that kind of money.
Well, and not a lot of 21-year-olds, hack it through. Yeah,
yeah.
they don't take. I mean, there's a difference between hustle and grit, right?
Right.
And I think the grit, it's more often than not. It's one of those things that's almost kind of like learned along the way. Like you learn it through experience and whatnot. So seeing somebody who's that young with that grit already in place to go through the highs and the lows and stick through it, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, there's 2 rules to entrepreneurship, in my opinion. You start and you never stop. Like no matter what. I mean, you're going to go through. I don't know what level anybody is on that's watching this. But if you're just starting, or shoot, even if you're kind of getting seasoned, you might be hitting a block. You're gonna doubt yourself like crazy. Doubt yourself, and I don't even know where you're at with this. I mean, you're pretty much. I mean, you've been in the entrepreneurship game a lot longer than I have, but you hit those points where you're just like, I don't know if I can move forward with this, but you just keep going. That's just the rule. You know what I mean?
You don't quit. I was talking about this earlier, and I had a training session with my training coach, and we were in the middle of that thing, right? The cool thing about pushing yourself on a physical space is because it also fucks your mental space. Like if you're able to push your physical body, you're gonna have mental battles in there, right? And there's a point to this thing that I'm saying. You push yourself and you feel like you're failing. You feel like, okay, you know what? I can't go through. I'm done. And then you stick through it, or you get that little bit of motivation from somebody else that's in that space, and then you come through and you finish up a set. It's just a set. It's nothing too crazy, right? But you finished something that you didn't think you had in your tank, and I think it's very, very. It correlates directly to the amount of tenacity that we have as entrepreneurs, right? If we're able to do that in a space like, for example, like the gym, and you can apply it anywhere, right? You can take it from anything, but it's in my example, it's if you can push yourself to those limits where you didn't think that you'd be able to get to, and you take that same attitude and you plug it in. Everywhere else, you plug it into your business. You plug it into the follow-ups. You plug it into the relationship building. That same tenacity is going to take you over those periods of time where you see that everything is dark, and we get them, bro. Like we get them. Sometimes, I mean, the highs are super, nice. They're beautiful. They're great. They're the highlights, and we're posting shit on Instagram, and those are the highs, right? But the lows are scary.
Oh no, 100%. And then even on your gym analogy, so my son, I started when he was 13 years old. He's 14 now. I pick him up just about every single morning, take him to the gym at 5 a.m. And it's really.
How old is he?
14 right now.
That's child abuse.
But it's like, and all I try to do is get through four exercises. Mm-hmm. That's just the goal, to get through 4. And we're maxing on reps rather than weight. I used to try to max on weight, and I wind up getting shoulder damage. You know what I mean? You pull stuff and you hurt yourself a lot. I look all right for being 45, but
stud.
But I mean, I'm just trying to teach him, the extension and the squeeze, and you just don't stop. You just go.
Yeah, you go through it.
Yeah, he'll be in there grumpy as shit sometimes, but it's funny. And then other days it'll be really good.
Well, it's part of that grit building, right? It's a process for him. Like how far do you think that's gonna go in his development? You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, this is easy now because I'm used to doing all this shit. I'm used to doing all this stuff, and I had all these experiences and going through it.
Yeah, and he worked acquisitions for us the entire summer. This last summer, he got 2 deals locked up. One of them's already closed, and he made $1,000 on it. And I was like,
14 years old, locking stuff up already.
Yeah, and I told him, I was like, I'll give you $100 of this. I'm going to save the other $900. You need to come up with a business plan. I'll give you the other $900. Yeah. You're not going to spend this on stupid shit.
You're not going to go buy Fortnite.
Yeah. He's already got all that stuff, but
V-coins or whatever they call
come up with a little business plan, and let's make this money make you money.
Nice.
And then I tell him
catch
too,
him catch him young.
like in high school, I mean, you even have the I'm just gonna say that maybe the greatest stud in the entire high school environment is the quarterback on the football team. Mm-hmm. I was like, if you're in there as an entrepreneur making money and just killing it, I would venture to say you're probably more of a stud than he is.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just kind of putting everything in perspective, which is what we all need. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really always about perspective, because you shift. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The whole entire time you'll shift. Shoot, right now, even on my previous comment about I have Jason as an operations manager. We have Caleb as another acquisition agent. Travis is our dispo agent. And then John and I kind of just oversee everything and just kind of put deals together. I'm really more the guy that talks to a lot of the attorneys that either try to mess with us or we're trying to get money from them off of affidavits. But I'm running into a spot right now where I need to kind of either figure out something else to do. Not going away from the business, but like it's almost like you go to when kids are like 20 years old, they haven't figured themselves out yet.
Right.
Now, like I'm like in this space where I don't have I don't want to jump into everything that Jason's doing. You know what I mean? The dude's doing a fantastic job. It'd just be like a little massaging here and there. But other than that, John and I put together such a good company that it doesn't require a whole lot of oversight. It doesn't require. Jason's wanting to prove himself every single day, and I mean, to me, that's more motivation than I think I even started the entire company with.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
And you've also been able to tap into different areas. Like you started with wholesaling, which is that one strategy, right? But that evolved into other stuff. Once you get your feet wet on entrepreneurship and you get that that first taste of blood, you're like, okay, cool, I got this. I think I can do something. I think it empowers us to pursue. It empowers us to achieve. And you went from that to opening, multiple different companies that are outside of that same space, right?
Right. Yeah. So, excuse me. So, John and I have 2 different S corps. So, and then all of our companies below them are owned by the S corps. We have Arizona Next Level, which is basically the wholesale company. So the model was just to market out looking for wholesale properties, and if they cash flow, then we buy them ourselves with our own money. Then we bring a private money lender in to take that money back out to make us liquid again to continue. Now, when we buy those properties, when we hold them, we have another company called JBOS, John Berger, Alan Whitworth. That's what it stands for. That's our holding company. And then below that, we have JBOS 1, JBOS 2, JBOS 3, JBOS 4, JBOS 5, JBOS, and so on and so forth. And each one of those individual LLCs, we have set up basically to carry 5 individual properties. So if we have issues, we can cut out, you know what I mean? But we don't anticipate it. And then we lease option all those properties out. So we do rent to own. Basically, where we're looking for an option fee of anywhere from 5 to 20% of the value of the house 5 years from now, up front. Yeah. And then we take that then we take that up front, and that applies to the purchase price of the property 5 years from now. So it's a whole rent to own model, and then they pay the rent on it, and then we cash flow on the property on a month to month basis. I think right now, we're right around like 3.6 million in holdings, and it sounds okay, but I mean, you look at like guys like Pace, Morby, and stuff like that. He's like in the 30 million range, and we'll get there. You know what I mean? He's been doing this a lot longer than I have, and I mean, the net worth is it's what 1.2 million, 1.3 million, and we did that in less than 2 years. So John and I have only been partnered since November of 2019. Yeah. It's cool, man. It's so what I'm working on mostly right now is working on private money, big private money. The more private money that I have, so I can do these deals with, and pay people out, 7 to 10% with a kicker on the back or something like that, which could potentially equate to like an 18% return for them over the 5-year term. It's a beautiful model, and everybody makes money on it. So I'm heavy working on that aspect of it as well. So is John. Both of us are. And shoot, even Jason brought in a couple girls from Florida, and I think their money's in quite a few of our deals, and he gets 5% of every single dollar deployed into our properties. That he
put together from that. So basically, he's got like a mini fund.
Yeah, it's like a residual income coming to him now. And like I mean, anybody that would bring that to me, you know what I mean? I'd pay him 5% out of every single deal that we ever disperse from now until forever.
See, that's the beauty about evolving in any given space, right? There's always different ways to play in the industry that you're in. This is, for example, real estate, right? You're playing in a very different way in the space of real estate. Real estate is a great vehicle, but it doesn't mean that people can't come in and then not do it somewhere else. I mean, in the restaurant business and the whatnot, you just got to think a little bit outside the box and then really take that leap. So how did it go tell me about the transition between doing the regular standard stuff, which was like a deal here and then a deal there, and then building actually this deal machine, and then moving into strategizing into something different, like building out a portfolio. How did that go?
So John and I met at I think it was the Phoenix RIA. We talked for like 4 months, and I had been wholesaling subject to properties. I make like a few grand off of it or whatever. But I wanted to actually start keeping the properties, keep them as cash flow, keep them as building wealth. Started talking to John, and I was like, hey, would you just go through the whole deal with me and just work the whole deal with me? You make money, I make money. He's like, absolutely. And it was like a progression of like, I think maybe a month or so. He started just talking about me and him just being partners, just business partners.
Yeah.
And it's like flat out, dude, I'll give you 50% of the entire company, 50% of the wealth, 50% of everything. We just put our heads together and
just clicked.
Yeah. And it's a large part of what my net worth is now has everything to do with my partnership with John, for sure. And it's going to continue to grow. I think we closed 3 houses last month. I think we're on track to do about that this month. And our goal is to hit 6 every single month. And honestly, I think over time, once we start hitting 6, we're going to start looking at, we need to be doing 10. And so like even this deal that I'm working on right now, you have to get crazy, like creating a prospectus. Like our prospectus is like 2 pages, and I have some friends in the finance world. They send me over an example of what the prospectus needs to look like to go for the heavy hitter, the heavy money. It's like 50 freaking pages, it's, and like, I'm looking at it now. I'm just kind of like absorbing it. I can't even understand half the stuff on there, but it's my job to get to the point where I can start bringing in bigger money like that. And once I'm able to bring in bigger money, I mean, shoot, I got 5 open desks at my office right now. Yeah. And like just on the wholesale frame, we've had the entire office packed, you know what I mean? Yeah. With people. We've gone like all the way to the gills, and we didn't profit as well as we are currently right now. I think the last time I talked to you, I was telling you that we were doing about $20,000 in PPC, pay-per-click Google ads each month, and right now we don't do any. We don't have any marketing budget because our acquisition agents literally just call realtors in different pockets that we want to be in.
Yeah, what do you got?
And want to send us everything. Get the relationship going, and they send us everything. Yeah. And we're buying deals. So they're like, oh, these guys are legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Closing on it, yeah.
But it's interesting. So like if I'm able to, lock up another $2 million in private money, I'm just going to fill all those other desks up and let these guys run them. So Caleb and Jason will just oversee these new pockets that we have and make money off the money that they're making.
Yeah. That is a great model. I'm looking at this transition in mindset evolution, right? Like from 2.5 years ago up to this point, your mindset obviously shifted. How has that kind of shaped the route that you have taken from the way that you used to think back then to the way you think now?
Well, I think so. I'm on an action-based income now. Like I have to perform or make sure other people are performing in order for me to make a certain amount of money. Before I could just show up for work and just go through the motions. You know what I mean? Yep. Put in my 8, and I don't think I ever really actually put in my 8, but there's a lot of people that do. I think it feels really, really safe. And I'll tell you right now, like even in the situation that I'm in right now, that what I've created right now, I have months where I'm sketched the fuck out. You know what I mean? Because I'll have months where I put in my bank account $40,000-$50,000, and then I have like 3 months where I make 5. Yeah. For all 3 months. And it's kind of an up and down thing. But like the thing that gives me comfort is all in this entire process, though, we're acquiring properties, building wealth, and building cash flow. Yep. So
you have that backbone going on, yeah. You have a bigger picture on that bigger model.
We got the hamster wheel running, and we got the wealth building running at the same time. Yeah. So it's comfortable. It's not comfortable. It's an interesting world. There, yeah. It's an interesting world, man. It's an interesting world, and geez, man, I don't even know what else to say on that. To me, I think one of the best things that I've ever done in the entrepreneurship world is creating a team that trusts you, wants to work for you. You know what I mean? Will bring you any problem, and they want to perform for you. Create that team, and you're leveraging. Now, what you were saying earlier, so now you're leveraging the team to make you money.
Let's dive a little bit into that. How do you put together? I mean, because hiring and bringing talent into a company is one of the biggest challenges. I mean, we see it every single day. How do you put together a team that's solid and that bleeds the company, right? And that bleeds Arizona Next Level, and they put in the extra effort and they come in and perform for you. But how do you get that buy-in from your team?
Well, first of all, you have to have a clear vision. The other part is I guess how we do we've hired a lot of people that just didn't work out, and it's interesting that in the office I'm the one that has to fire everybody. Like I'm the firer guy.
You're the hammer.
Yeah, but it's
The
not
hammer.
like a hammer. You do it all polite or whatever. It's just like once you bring somebody into your office, that makes the air change. You feel it. You know what I mean? Like you just got to make the decision really quick. One of the things, Nick Perry's a good friend of mine. I don't know who knows him, but he's pretty legit.
I just saw him a couple of weeks ago in Tampa. Yeah,
he's like
He's a
low
good dude.
30s.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's doing like $300,000 a month in his wholesale business. But he was saying you do an initial interview, then you do a practical interview, and then you do an informal interview. So actually it's the formal interview is when you're first starting to talk to the person. Like, okay, we got your resume. Let's figure you out. And then we bring them in for the practical, where we actually have them come in for an entire day and work on our systems and see how they perform. And then the informal interview is where either they're just working with the team, so the team would make the decision, or you basically take them out to go eat or go to the bar or something like that and see how they function outside of work as well, to get a good rounded idea of what type of person they are. Because I mean, a lot of people interview really, really well out the gate, and then you find out that there was the worst nightmare.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's one, and then also people go after the job role. But if it doesn't fit the behavioral profile for that person, like there's a lot of attrition. People fall out within 3 months. People get tired if they're not psychologically wired for something like that. Given the job role that they're applying for, they will get tired. It doesn't matter how much how much effort they put into it and how much desire they have in that to perform. We're wired differently. Like that's a natural thing. Right? We all can learn every single skill out there if you put the time into it. But at the end of the day, like we're wired for different skills. We're wired for different talents.
Yeah, and everybody in my office is legit an entrepreneur. Everybody has their own LLC. They're all 1099. They're all performance based on their income. I've had situations where we've had fantastic months back to back, and then hired the wrong people on dispo and lost our position. You know what I mean? Over the next 2 or 3 months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to start rethinking everything. You're like, holy crap, this really screwed us bad. We need to get somebody in here different. And it's and you want to give everybody a chance too. You know what I mean? If they show that they have their interest in it. And that comes down to like KPIs on everything, like making sure that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, hitting the numbers that they're supposed to be hitting.
Accountability,
Yeah, it's really huge. That's a really huge part of everything that we're doing.
So that's a very interesting hiring model, especially that part where you do the informal. I've never done it. I've never done an informal interview when I'm hiring. I do look for people that that match and like really jive with the type of culture that we have going on. I mean, they have self accountability and that sort of thing, right? But it's how do you retain people for long term? Like this is another question that I get all the time. Like, all right, people who are killers, who are really good at, for example, sales, right, or acquisitions. Like they're wired to want to do their own thing. Like, how do you retain talent like that?
We have a base for everybody that works for us, so they're guaranteed a certain amount of money no matter what, and then everything just goes on top of that with the commissions. It really comes down to your willingness and your operating budget that you can actually pay people enough money for them to be there, and you also have to have enough confidence in them to pay them that money and hope and know that they're going to perform.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of different too, because there's people that'll just want the base and they'll just put in their 8 hours. You know what I mean? And then there's people that just want the deal.
Yeah, I mean, I want, for example, in my businesses, I want people who stay hungry. I want people who, not necessarily because they're money driven, that's like all they think about, but it's because they're achievement driven. Like, all right, cool, I can get this done. Why? Because it's a challenge. I can take on it, and then it makes me feel good. Like that type of person, I think has a lot of range for growth, right? Because if you, for example, if you hire somebody who's strictly money driven, the minute that they hit that number that they want to hit for the month, like motivation drops, motivation tanks.
Right.
But if you have somebody, and I mean, this goes hand in hand with like the way entrepreneurs think, right? But if you have somebody who's intrinsically driven or achievement driven, they just want to keep performing, and why? Because they can. Like it doesn't have a cap to it. You know what I mean? It keeps going and going and going and going, and then you perform. I feel and I find that that's the type of a person that I can trust more to do their thing without having to be hovering or making sure that they're not keep them accountable from my side of the table. You know what I mean? They're doing all that on their own. Yeah,
the drive's there. Like, I mean, Jason in our office, he's repeated it over and over and over again. He's like, I don't really care about the money. I just want to get the deals. I just want to make deals.
Why? Because it feels good.
Yeah, it's a chess match, man. It's you know what I mean. Like if you're driven to put together stuff that nobody else can put together, then and you do it, it gets you pumped.
Yeah.
And then each individual conversation is like you're playing a new game. Yeah. It's not like you're playing Mario Brothers the first level over and over again. You know what I mean? You're stepping up.
The science of individual achievement.
We do a lot of creative deals. We do novation deals. We do wholesale deals. We do subject to deals, existing finance, seller finance. Dude, we do everything. We'll sell the deals in seller finance. There's so many different plays all the time, and it's really interesting to see these little 20-year-old kids. Like it's taken me, a couple years to wrap my head around, and these little kids are freaking killing it. I mean, I think Caleb's like 20 or 21 as well. But it's fantastic to see people like that grow. And my whole theory is, my whole perspective is, I'd love to see you guys pass me up. In every aspect, become a better negotiator than me, become better at putting together a deal than me. And honestly, I think they probably already have. Like sometimes I feel completely useless at the office, but it's an interesting spot to be in. It's just I have to just keep working on the private money aspect.
Well, but I mean, it's also important to keep in mind that we have that, as the owners or the leaders of the companies, we have that 50,000 foot view, right? We're able to see the different pieces when people who are in the trenches can see their only their track. So we can come in and we can break down what's going on, bottlenecks, systems and processes, and improve upon whatever is in play. But because we have the bigger perspective on it, it's all it is. I don't think it's a matter of magical talent. It's just a different point of view. It's a vantage point. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Happens, and just recalibrate everybody too when people start kind of shifting. Because I mean, my goal is really to get as much money through the door in any individual month as possible. So
yeah. So you're in that. I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? I mean, sales cure all. It's if sales stops or sales stop, nothing else works in a business. Like that's the reality of it. You're really big on the personal growth side and the mindset side. As you're going through this entrepreneur journey and you're coming, across new challenges, from strategizing in business and then hiring and then your exponential growth within only a couple of years, which is super cool. How does your personal growth journey, like how does that impact everything else, like as far as results go?
I mean, just like what you're saying, I mean, as far as it's like just going to the gym and eating right are like the foundational pieces. I don't really go to the gym. I guess I go to the gym to look good, but I also go to the gym because it like kind of resets me all the time. Like if I miss a day, I'm gonna have a funky day, and I kind of start with that. I think a lot of it is just like you're going to be consumed by doubt. No matter what, no matter what level you get to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like a 1 or a 2 in the real estate world. You know, Trump would be like maybe a 10. You know, I'm just hypothetically speaking. I haven't seen all those other levels yet.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't got to those levels yet. The level that I'm at right now, and just like even the previous career that I had, doubting myself and just overcoming it, trying to figure it out. And at the same time, like if you're afraid to do something, to me, that's kind of the it's the sign that you need to conquer that. You know, because if you don't, you know what I mean, you're just going to eat yourself apart. If you do, you're going to grow.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to keep looking for that next fear and that next fear and that next fear.
Bro, it's funny that you mentioned that, but when I get too comfortable, I start getting nervous. I've been in the last 18 years, I've gotten so used to putting myself in uncomfortable spots that when I feel too comfortable for a long, long time, I start getting nervous. I start getting antsy. I'm like, all right, cool. What's going on? This feels off. It feels and it feels good. It feels comfortable,
Right.
but it feels off. And I feel like I recognize when I start to stagnate, and it like. I don't know. Now I don't see that as a good feeling. If it sounds crazy, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's pushing that.
Getting comfortable being uncomfortable is key. Yeah. And I know exactly what you're talking about right now, because like I've kind of shifted into a spot where, do I even need to show up anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so I'm just looking for the next dynamic that I can do to fuel the entire machine, to make it more profitable, to get us to that $30 million level, you know, so on and so forth. And it's new challenges, new thresholds to go through that I haven't even touched before. Don't know shit about them. I mean, like I said, when I see a 50-page prospectus from somebody, like just even going through that, it's
it's making my head hurt right now.
Yeah, and then just even plugging in the information that we need to start looking at, you know, bigger investors, hedge fund investors. Right now, we have a lot of like mom and pop investors, which are doing great with us. And I mean, I think even we offer like a 90-day call on the money as well. So like if they want their money back out, just give us a 90-day notice and you can have it back out. We just bring another private money investor in.
Yeah,
and
cover that spot.
And that's truly I think the biggest part of building a portfolio is you have to have that money behind you. And other people do it different ways. Like I believe like Devin Burr, he buys a property with hard money, you know, refurbishes it with hard money. Then he sells the property to his wife, who has a W-2, and then they start taking that and starting to putting it over to a portfolio. What do you call it? Into an actual portfolio.
Right.
We're doing it a little
buy and hold kind of stuff, and then refi after.
Yeah, we're doing it a little different, and we're actually selling, you know, first and second position liens on the properties, both with different percentages associated with them, making people actually have residual income off of their money. I mean, you got like if you put your money in a savings account, I'm not trying to sell this, I'm just talking. If you put your money in a savings account, you'll be lucky if you get like 1.5% on that money that's sitting in the savings account. And then you have inflation on top of that. I'm not sure about flipping the number out.
It wipes everything out.
It's like 2%, 3% or something like that inflation, and it's going up. So your money's actually going backwards when it's sitting in a savings account. You're like losing money sitting in a savings account. You're losing money with your money in a 401k. There's a whole, I don't even want to get into it, but it's kind of a little pinch point for me.
No, and you're completely right, and that's what I'm talking about, right? It's about getting creative with solutions out there. When you get into a lot of people question themselves, and the doubt is there, the fear is there. Like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. Take the first step. You know, we're talking educated risks here, right? Take the first step, and that first step is going to give you a different vantage point. Maybe it's a step up, right? And you're going to see things from a different perspective. Now, that one step up is going to get you to that next step, and then you're going to start to figure shit out. Like, we don't have. I see it a lot where people want to sit down and then create this business plan until everything is, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. They will not pull the trigger. They will not pull the trigger to save their lives, and they will not take action. And then what happens? Just the drive, the desire, or the I mean, it's wishful thinking. Like it turns into wishful thinking. This plan turns into wishful thinking. 10 years go by and they're still in the same spot. Why? Because they didn't take that first step.
My whole thing is I have the ready, fire, aim approach. You know, you pull the trigger and then figure out how to hit the target.
Sometimes it can be very expensive. I'm the same way. However, you have a very, very good backup plan to that, which is your partner. He has a lot of experience, so I'm assuming that you guys play off of each other.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, when it comes to that kind of stuff.
But I'm saying like even if you're like getting started, like even if you're getting started in the real estate world or whatever, like what you're saying, the paralysis by analysis or whatever, analysis paralysis. I don't even know how you say it, but if you just pull the trigger and get yourself in motion, you start having no choice but to succeed. And then here's the other thing about it too, like when you get a team behind you, you have to perform at a certain level no matter what, because all these other people are relying on you to function. So they gotta eat. So that's another, that's another pressure behind you. It's, that whole concept of burning the boats to take the beach. And I don't know if people heard the story before. I don't even know if it was like Vikings or Romans. I don't know what it was, but
Cortez.
What's that?
Cortez.
So they're pulling up. The boats were pulling up to this beach that they're about to take, and then all the captains of all the boats said, "Light the boats on fire."
Yeah.
So there was no retreat.
Yeah.
That's really what. It's scary as hell. And I'm not going to say it's not. There's nothing easy about any of this. But if you put yourself in motion and actually get some momentum going behind you, get some pressure behind you, you might cry in your hands. Like cry yourself to sleep in your pillow too.
Ask yourself, what the hell am I doing? Yeah,
I've done it. I've done it. But the thing about it is, like, once you overcome that doubt, you're now on the other side. Your proof of concept is there. Your belief in yourself is there. And like the thing about it is, like, a lot of people. So there's this whole concept. So like you have an idea, right? You have this idea, and if you follow it up by action, you now have a result, and now you have a belief. So this is where successful people live. Idea, action, result, belief. But most people live in this other world where they have the idea, never take action, never get the result, and never get the belief. Most people live right here.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's literally, it really just comes down to the action. You're gonna suck. Just accept the fact that you're gonna suck. You know what I mean? You're not gonna come out like a rock star. You might think you are, but you're full of shit. If somebody like tries to sell you something that makes you think that, oh shoot, you're gonna be massively successful in the next 3 months, run. There's no such thing as getting rich quick. There's only such thing as getting rich for sure.
Yeah. I love that, man. That's so true. One of the biggest things that kind of allowed me to move from that fear stage was understanding and getting okay with saying I don't know. Even to my employees or people that work in my company. I don't know. I don't like to say that people work in my companies. People work for themselves. We just work together. We happen to work together, right? But anybody in my team is even if they have a question and I'm not completely sure about it, like I'll put it out there, right? But it's going back to I've been in this whole environment for the last 18 years. You still have questions every single day. Like you wake up some days knowing what the hell am I doing? Like you ask yourself that question. I have no idea what I'm doing right now, but it's gonna work somehow, some way. I'm just gonna take that one action. It's going back to principles, right? It's going back to creating that habit of actually pulling the trigger on the stuff that you wanna eventually build or create, because I think we put ourselves in a space of creation. We have the ability to create as entrepreneurs. We have the ability to create a different perspective. We have the ability to create a different world for those people who come into our businesses, right? We can somehow, some way impact the life of other people, based off of depending on the stuff that that we're doing. At the very minimum, you're going to impact the life of everybody that's working around you and their families. Yeah. So if you have a business and you hire 5 people, and those 5 people end up being head of household, you're not impacting 5 people. You don't have that responsibility of 5 people. You have the responsibility of 25 or 30. Every immediate person that's behind them, and then that can be daunting, right? But when you turn that on its head and you see it as an opportunity, right, to perform, as an opportunity to push you and get you through those like darker spots, and as a reason why not to fail and not stop, like that shit fires you up. That shit fires you up.
the thing is it's pressure. So you need, in my opinion, like you need the pressure and the whole concept of what pressure makes diamonds, right? I had a friend I was talking to the other day. I was like, I'm a little bit stressed out, and he's like, dude, don't ever say that again. He's like it's pressure. He's like, pressure makes diamonds.
Oh yeah.
You know, stress is like a negative connotation, like a downward spiral. It could be, you know, but the pressure is just what you need. And honestly, I wouldn't even be close to where I'm at right now if I didn't create a significant amount of pressure on my shoulders to do it.
Right.
You know, and burn the boats, dude. Burn the boats and just move.
Move. Take action. I mean, shit doesn't get done from the desk. Most of the time, right? Like from the hypothetical desk or the couch where you're planning, you know, how to move. Like just
like literally, I think the best advice to give anybody, like if we're talking to new people here, I'm sure there's a lot of advanced people that are watching this podcast as well. If you just learn one little thing, and then apply it the next day, and then apply it the next day, now you know it. If you sit there and study like every aspect of real estate, wholesale, creative, or whatever, and just you're a professional student, right? Like you're never going to make any money because you're never going to freaking do anything because you're going to run into so many different things that scare you. Yeah. But if you just take one little simple thing, like I mean, just door knocking, shoot, it's scary as shit, dude. It's a scary thing to do. If you just start knocking doors, you're going to wind up finding deals. If you and I don't know how you want to market, I don't know how you want to do anything. But I mean, just learning one new thing pretty consistently. I mean, shoot, just learn one new thing each week and apply it the next week. One new little thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's part of evolution, right?
100%.
It's not about. It's never about jumping in and then. I think right now that the whole need of immediate gratification is hurting a lot of people in the having realistic expectations of what can happen, right? Within 1 year, within 1 month, I mean, people can go to Instagram and then see some posts. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be running a digital ad agency and I'm gonna be, killing it with 10K a month, and by mid next month. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes on behind that kind of stuff, right? And I'm picking that as an example, but immediate gratification can be one of those things that really sways off the reality of things. It takes time. It takes, you have to go through the trench work. You have to go through the understanding of what it takes, the experiences. You're gonna borrow experience, right, through courses and coaching and training. But that skill set, that grit, that personal thick skin that you need to actually operate a business,
all comes from action.
Yeah, it comes from action. Like, simple as that. It's just like it's not rocket science. Yeah, but I mean, I completely agree with that. I love it. So what? I mean, and you're talking about, I was going to ask you, what's the give me the top 3 pieces of advice that you would tell somebody who's getting into entrepreneurship or thinking about starting their own business.
I honestly, I think we're just recapping what we already discussed. I mean, I'd say right out the bat, ready, fire, aim. Just pull the trigger and go. You know what I mean? Figure it out. Obviously, there's courses out there, and I have a course, a shameless plug, I guess.
Where's it at?
It's AlanWhitworth.com.
Okay.
We actually mentor. I think we're mentoring about 2,000 people right now across the country, and it's like I'll come a lot from my TikToks. And it's Alan Whitworth 5, and the just reach out to us. Our number is 480-360-4523, and that's me and my team all mentoring multiple new wholesalers, and we're also buying the deals and selling the deals for people at the same time. I mean, we have all kinds of different little marketing channels going on that really just kind of come to us, and at the same time, everybody else grows around us. And really, the 2 rules to entrepreneurship is to start and don't ever stop. Just know that you're going to be doubting yourself through the entire process, and the ready, fire, aim approach, and
get comfortable with it.
yeah, and just do it. Pull the trigger and make stuff happen, and just understand that there is no such thing as getting rich quick. If you're approaching if somebody's approaching you with something that's saying, hey, you're going to be worth X amount of money in the next 3 months, just run away from that. Because I mean, it's all about putting in the time, like what you were saying before, getting the experience, becoming seasoned. Because I mean, when I started, I had no idea if I could even freaking do this. Now it's just like, it's just a matter of the next day go by. It's only time. It's a patient persistence.
Yep.
You know, you have the process in place, and then you're patient enough to let it go, and you're persistent enough to let it stay, you know?
Yeah.
So it's man, we could literally talk for hours. You know, there's so much that you're going to learn, so much fuel that you're going to gain throughout the entire process that you have no idea exists right now.
Yeah.
And
we don't know what we don't know.
You don't, that's exactly what I was
Yeah.
going to say. You don't know what you don't know, and that's a really bad position to be in. But it's also kind of a beautiful thing at the same time, because the more you learn and the more you apply, the more comfortable is not the right word, the more seasoned you become with everything that you're doing. And you're still, and at that same point in time, you're not afraid to ask questions anymore. You know, just because you know that you're going to get to the next step by just asking the simple question. Yeah. And like, there's a lot of people in wholesale real estate that try and dink around and waste a lot of time, a lot of marketing money, a lot of everything, you know, over 2 years and never get a single freaking deal. And you
Bro,
could
I
literally,
see it time and time again. Time and time again.
yeah, and you could literally go through like the right freaking course and be doing the deals in the next month. And it's just,
yeah.
And I created a course just because there was so many people asking me if I had a course. I'm like, well, maybe I should create a course.
Put something together.
I wasn't trying to create another company to make a bunch more money. But the thing about it is like, I've gone through multiple real estate courses, and I think mine's probably one of the more streamlined, fast, straight to the point, going to get you get you making deals fast, and you're not going to sit there and have to wade through a course for 10 hours. It's literally, I think, maybe 2 hours of content, but it's all pointed. Gives you the contracts, the addendums, the assignments, tells you how to negotiate, tells you how to find the deals, tells you how to source deals, tells you how to every single aspect. And I mean, it's just super streamlined. I'm one of those people that has to have everything simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
easy button.
I have to take the big complex stuff and make it real simple. I don't got the attention span to sit through freaking 10 hours of nonsense. You know what I mean? I created it with that kind of concept where it gets you start to finish.
And what's that website again?
AlanWhitworth.com.
AlanWhitworth.com. We'll put that on the show notes as well. So I love it, man. Thanks for all the golden nuggets and really giving us the opportunity to tap into your thought process and your experience throughout the last couple of years, which have been insane. If you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that kid?
Start in real estate. Get in real estate.
Skip the corporate.
Oh hell yeah, dude. My son, he's 14 and he's already seeing it. I mean, it's the number one wealth building vehicle on the planet. Google it. Google that shit. You'll see.
Google knows everything. Start in real estate. All right, there you guys have it. You heard it here. Thank you, bro, again for the time and for the conversation. It's been real, man.
I really appreciate you having me on, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. Boom! It's a wrap.